Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada. Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur Hari Bol. Nitai Gaur Premanandi. From Srila Prabhupada Lilamrita, he built a house in which the whole world can live. So the chapter is entitled In Every Town and Village. Members of the Indian community had been apprehensive of Prabhupada's opening their hall to the Africans, and some of them had attended to see what would happen. Observing Prabhupada's compassionate program, however, the Indians were impressed. Such an apparently simple program had the spiritual potency to erase cultural boundaries. This should be Brahmananda Swami's mission in Africa, Prabhupada insisted, offering Krishna consciousness to the Africans. And the program should be simple, distributing prasadam, distributing free books, and chanting Hare Krishna with drums and kartals. Krishna consciousness should not be just another Nairobi Hindu religious society. The Hindus should take part by donating money, but Brahmananda Swami's preaching and recruiting should be among the Africans. When several black American disciples joined Prabhupada in Nairobi, Prabhupada told them, 400 years ago, your ancestors were taken away from here as slaves. But just see how you have returned as masters. His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada ki. Shishikarantai Mayapur Sashi ki. Reading from Granth Raj Srimad Bhagavatam. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Cheva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jaya Mudirayet Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Neshtikri. So we'll continue our study of Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 6, Chapter 11, chapter entitled The Transcendental Qualities of Vritrasura. And today's text is text 20. Nanva Esha Vajras Tava Shakra Tejasa Nanvaisha Vajras Tava Shakra Tejasa Harer Dadiches Tapasa Cha Tejita Hare Dadiches Tapasa Cha Tejita Teneva Shatrum Jahi Vishnu Yantrito Teneva Shatrum Jahi Vishnu Tantrito Yato Harir Vijaya Shrir Gunas Tata Yato Harir Vijaya Shrir Gunas Tata Nanvaisha Vajrastava Sakratejasa Hare Dadiche Stapasa Chatejita Teneva Shatrum Jahi Vishnu Yantrito Yato Harir Vijaya Shri Gunastata Nanvaisha Vajrastava Sakratejasa Hare Dadiche Stapasa Chatejita Teneva Shatrum Jahi Vishnu Yantrito Yato Harir Vijaya Shri Gunastata Nanvaisha Vajrastava Sakratejasa Hare Dadiche Stapasa Chatejita Teneva Shatrum Jahi Vishnu Yantrito Yato Harir Vijaya Shri Gunastata Listen. Nanvesha Vajrastava Sakratejasa Hare Dadiche Stapasa Chatejisa Teneva Shatrum Jahi Vishnu Yantrito Yato Harir Vijaya Shri Gunastata Nane Vishnu Yantrito Mataji's. Okay, we go word to word. Nana, certainly, Asia, this, Vajra, thunderbolt, Tava, of yours, Shakra, O Indra, Tejasa, by the prowess, Hare, of Lord Vishnu, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Dadiche of Dadichi, Tapasa by the austerities, Cha as well as Tejita empowered, Tena with that, Eva certainly, Shatrum your enemy, Jahi kill, Vishnu Yantrita ordered by Lord Vishnu, Yata wherever, Hari Lord Vishnu, Vijaya victory, Shri opulences, Guna and other good qualities, Tata there. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. O Indra, King of Heaven, the thunderbolt you carry to kill me has been empowered by the prowess of Lord Vishnu and the strength of Dajiji's austerities. Since you have come here to kill me in accordance with Lord Vishnu's order, there is no doubt that I shall be killed by the release of your thunderbolt. Lord Vishnu has sided with you. Therefore, your victory, opulence, and all good qualities are assured. Purport. Vitrasura not only assured King Indra that the thunderbolt was invincible, but also encouraged Indra to use it against him as soon as possible. Vitrasura was eager to die with the stroke of the thunderbolt sent by Lord Vishnu, so that he could immediately return home back to Godhead. By hurling the thunderbolt, Indra would gain victory and enjoy the heavenly planets, remaining in the material world for repeated birth and death. Indra wanted to gain victory over Vitrasura and thereby become happy, but that would not at all be happiness. The heavenly planets are just below Brahmaloka. But as stated by the Supreme Lord Krishna, Abrahma Bhuvanal Loka Punaravartino Arjuna. Even if one achieves Brahmaloka, he must still fall to the lower planetary systems again and again. However, if one goes back to Godhead, he never returns to this material world. By killing Vitrasura, Indra would not actually gain, he would remain in the material world. Vitrasura, however, would go to the spiritual world. Therefore, victory was destined for Vitrasura, not for Indra. वैराग्य विद्या निज भक्ति योगा शिक्षार्थमेक पुरुष पुराना श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य शरीरधारी कृपाम्बुदीर्य तमहं प्रपद्ये मूकं करोति वाचालं पंगुं लंघयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुदीनतारणम् वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंदा श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंदा। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna. Thank you everyone for this kind encouragement. So we study Srimad Bhagavatam. What is the Shri, the opulence of devotees, is what is mentioned in Srimad Bhagavatam. The opulence of devotees is the unconditional love for Krishna. And Krishna also holds that same opulence, his pure love for his devotees. And this is Srimad Bhagavatam, wherein the pastimes, the episodes of this mutual, pure, loving exchange, unconditional, is expressed between Krishna and his devotees. And Krishna and his devotees, they are eternally relishing this eternal bond, love throughout between them. And us conditioned souls, by taking shelter of Srimad Bhagavatam, when we hear Srimad Bhagavatam from realized souls, we can also gain an entrance into that eternal region, into that eternal pastimes of Krishna. We can come across by studying Srimad Bhagavatam what is our eternal identity, what is our real identity. And we can engage ourselves in that eternal role, in that eternal occupation. And this is what Vritrasura has realized. And this is how he's shaping, this is where he's moving forward. See, Srimad Bhagavatam is such a text wherein Vritrasura is referred to as Sri Vritrasura. We see here Vritrasura is speaking, and in this chapter itself, text 14, couple of days back when we read, Vritrasura is addressed here as Sri Vritrasura. Shri means, we understand, generally speaking, Shri means a sign of respect for someone. Shri Sukdev Goswami Vacha, Shri Bhagwan Vacha, and Shri Vittasura Vacha, Shri Vittasura speaking. What does Vitrasura mean? The name Vitrasura. So, yes, bro? Yeah, Sura means demon. Yes, bro. Shri and Shila, they are on the same lines itself. The one who is the most opulent, say, Shila Prabhupada, Shila Acharyas, the one who have got the real opulence, those who are holding the real opulence. And Shri Mad, one who is, Mad is like a form of intoxication. So what should be our real absorption or intoxication? Our real opulence should be, I belong to Krishna. Yes, bro. What does? Yeah. So Rita means covered, covered up, or covered, or one who can encompass. And when we see like the previous to previous chapter appearance of Vritasura, I mean this is Srimad Bhagavatam Sri describing, saying what the appearance of a demon, Vritrasura, the appearance of a demon, Vritrasura, and then the battle ensues between the demigods and the demons. So some hype being created and things like that, and now the transcendental qualities of Vritrasura. So when we see when Vritrasura appeared, also through his appearance he covered the entire universe altogether. The demigods were clueless, they had never come across such a personality as Vritrasura. So he covered all the universes everywhere, all covered up. And in what we have been reading very recently, say, uh, in this field of consciousness, in this range, realm of consciousness, who is more covered up? Is Vitrasura more covered up or Indra more covered up? Uh, Vitrasura, Indra more covered up. See, apparently it appears, okay, Indra is a pious, he's a pious, no doubt. He's a pious, holding a high position and doing an administrative job for Krishna and all. But look at Vitrasura. So this is Bhagavatam telling us who is more covered up and who is more open. Uh, And this is like the translation, O King of Heaven, Indra, the thunderbolt you carried to kill me has been empowered by the prowess of Lord Vishnu and the strength of Dadichi's austerities, the strength of a Brahmana's austerities, the strength of a Brahmana's tapasya, austerity, his purity, chastity, truthfulness is so powerful, the two combined, the prowess of Lord Vishnu. But what activates the prowess of Lord Vishnu is the purity of a sadhaka, that which activates the prowess of Lord Vishnu. It's not just like a thunderbolt. Okay, I need some iron. Get me some iron. Get me some utensils. Get me a rod and all, and I make this thunderbolt. What brings that real power is certainly the blessing of Lord Vishnu, and accompanied by the strength, the purity of a sadhaka, of a practitioner, his intent. And what is bhakti? Bhakti is essentially seva, is service. And by default, service means like, or it should be with love. It should be with love. So bhakti is premmai seva. And Vritrasura realized this. Vritrasura realized this loving devotional service. And he is now, further on, we'll see, getting more desperate for hankering for this loving devotional service towards the divine couple. So he's realizing his identity, his eternality, and his functioning. And now he's like so confident or so relaxed, so calm and peaceful, and at the same time, internally he's hankering. Internally he's burning, he's praying, come on, Indra, what is holding you back? You are on the right track, do the needful. He's encouraging Indra to use it again against him as soon as possible. See, um, what Vritasura is helping us understand is to aim our destination. What should be our destination? What destination is it we are aiming, or a sadhaka should be aiming? What should be a sadhaka's destination? And a practicing Krishna consciousness would definitely realize that his destination is not dependent on his destiny. There's a difference between destiny and destination. One's destination need not be dependent on one's destiny. Destiny, kind of by the will of providence, say, destiny made Vitrasura get birth in a demonic body, in a horrific demonic body, Vitrasura. But he knows his destination, he's clearing his destination. So I might be destined to be born somewhere, live somewhere, do something and all. But through the Krishna consciousness, through the blessings of Acharyas, if I understand actually what is my destination, then destiny will never be a stumbling block. Then everything will be there to facilitate me to reach to that destination. So this is Srimad Bhagavatam trying to help us understand, encourage us that what is actually our real destination, what should we be aiming for. If we fix our destination at the lotus feet of Lord Krishna, then Lord Brahma, who is the principal engineer or the creator of this world, and who has destined us based on our karmic reactions and our desires, whatever life situations, circumstances, and all, everything. But if my destination is the lotus feet of Lord Krishna, then that destiny would not overpower me, would not overwhelm me, would not overrule me. If within myself I have fixed up my destination. Also, here we understand what is, say, better or how it should be. A sadhaka, a Vaishnava, a devotee, a sadhaka, a spiritual practitioner, he lives to die or dies to live. Generally speaking, if I may say, a human being, he or she lives to die or dies to live. And a spiritual practitioner, he lives to die or dies to live. Vritrasura is here, dying, He's dying to live eternally. A Vaishnava, a sadhaka, he is hankering for when, oh, when will that day be mine? Uh, because this, we understand this human form of life is a junction. This human body is a junction for us to transcend, to enter into eternity. Hmm. And Vitrasura realized this. So now he is hankering, he is dying to live eternally. And generally, it is observed in society um, that what we just live to die, as in live to pay bills, this, that, and ultimately attain what? 6 feet land. What more say? Yeah, of course, we leave something good for the future generation. We leave behind them good trail. But Bhagavatam doesn't teach us that. Our acharyas, they never lived like that. No, they never teach that. So there's these two things. No? Externally, what should be my behavior? Externally, how should I be living? What should be my understanding, dealing, and all the practicality, say, of living in a practical world, right? I find it fascinating, a bit interesting. People like this world very practical. Oh, spirituality has to be practical. Krishna consciousness, we have to be practical somewhere. Things. Sure, yeah. So externally, all practically, yeah, devotees embrace this. This is why devotees don't fly in the sky. They are practical. They live practically. But internally, the mood has to be developed. The contemplation, the mood has to be developed. And this is like a question for myself. What am I doing? Am I dying to live eternally, or am I living to die? So, Srimad Bhagavatam, we understand that human life is meant to glorify death. That is the only purpose of human life, to glorify death. Dhruva Maharaj, he did it. That is sure. That is certain. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, no, one who has come is sure to die. But death is for whom? For the body, for the material body. For the soul, there is no death. So Krishna says to Arjuna, Tasmad aparyam haryarte natam sochitam arhasi. So in this, like, if one who has come to this world is sure to die, now in this event, do not forget, do not avoid your duty, that which cannot, indispensable duty. So that is like swadharma, fight. And we have the atma dharma as well. And that is the real thing, to love and serve Krishna unconditionally. And which is what Bhagavatam is trying to teach us, is wanting to teach us. Otherwise, it is, yeah, I mean, that is easy as well. See, and one thing is that, another thing is the fear of death. The fear of death. And Srimad Bhagavatam frees us from the fear of death. Srimad Bhagavatam completely will free us from the fear of death. There's a Tibetan story. two owls, two owls, they have snake and rats as their food. So two owls, one captured a snake, another captured a rat. Hmm? And now see this, two owls, one has captured a snake, another has captured a rat. And snakes, they take rats as their food. Now the two owls, they have got snake and rats captured, and the snake is seeing what? The rat. And the snake is getting excited. Wow, I have the rat as my food right in front of me there. And the rat is getting worried, seeing what? Oh, the snake is there in front of me. He's going to have me. He's going to have me. And both the snake and the rat, are pretty much oblivion that they are consumed by the owl. They are in the grip of the owl. They are captured by the owl. They are both living in this forgetfulness. The snake, he's in the, say, the mouth of owl, but he's forgetting death himself. Hmm? He's forgetting that. How? Getting sidetracked, seeing the rat. Oh, yes, here is the rat. I can snatch, I can eat him, I can overpower him, I can have him. Getting, say, lewd. Yes, there's sense enjoyment. And the rat is fearful of the snake. Although prior to the snake, he is already in the grip of the owl, but prior to that, he is scared of the snake. And the owls, they themselves have got snake and a rat, and they seem to be like, okay, we are, we have got the power, we are controlling. Look, the rat and the snake, and we are having this fun. But the owl is oblivion. What? There's a bigger owl or someone. I am also someone's food, and that is the material energy. That is the material energy. Falsely giving us so many ideas, thoughts. Constantly, we are living in illusion. Constantly. And it's very difficult to come up to reality until and unless we adopt a spiritual practice, a spiritual discipline in life, until and unless we take shelter of Srimad Bhagavatam, until and unless we come across devotees and practice devotional service in the association of devotees. Devotional service is practiced, can be practiced only in the association of devotees. Without association of devotees, one cannot actually practice devotional service. Shikorantai Mayapur Sashiki Jai. Without the association of devotees, one actually cannot practice what to speak of perfect devotional service, perfect this human form of life. So this is, again, it is for me to understand, for more for self-introspection. Where do I stand? The owl has got the snake in his mouth, the owl has got the rat in his mouth. Snake is getting a bit excited, oh, I've got rat as the food, and rat is now more than that, rat is worried about the fear of death. And snake is oblivion, living in ignorance of reality. This is society, pretty much a cover up society. Pretty much a cover up society. And this is Karuna Bhavan in Les Mehego on a bit misty, say, cold Friday morning in the assembly of devotees. What are we discussing that? Who do you think in the whole of Scotland on a Friday morning discusses that? Or even any in the whole of the UK, in the whole of the universe, any part of the country on a morning. Don't talk about that. Don't bring that. Give me a cup of tea. Let's turn BBC on. So we live very much in a cover up society actually. And see, Vitrasura, although covered up, but his consciousness is not at all covered up. Conscious. So this is actually a sadhaka should feel that irony, that pinch. What? Vishnu. Sarva Vyapak iti Vishnu. One who is all pervading. Krishna is all pervading. Vishnu is all pervading through his energy. But yet, although all pervasive, I'm not allowing my heart to be covered up by Krishna's love. Although Krishna is all pervasive, yet I am not opening up myself. And this is what devotee association would make us realize. Devotees would help us understand who we are, what is our eternal identity. You know, they say there's pleasure in this world, no doubt there's pleasure, but there's different degrees or gradation of pleasure, and it's not very substantial. And for pleasure to be real, proper real, it has to be eternal. It doesn't have to be just a weekend pleasure. Oh, that weekend, It was so fun in Glasgow. The Celtics and Rangers match was so good though. Oh, that league and all. No, it hasn't to be a thing in the past, and it has to be real. It has to be forever. The consequence of that pleasure should lead us to further pleasure, not headache. The consequence, the after effect of any pleasure, if it is genuine, real, it should lead us to even more pleasure. And this is what the teachings of Mahaprabhu is. Anandam Buddhi Vardhanam. Right? Mahaprabhu left us with 8 verses of Sishtastkam, and he's telling us if we engage in the Sankirtan movement of Mahaprabhu, in the Harinam Sankirtan Yagya of Mahaprabhu, when we chant the holy names of Krishna, the more we chant, the more relish we'll get. That is pleasure. And this is what Vritrasura, he's becoming greedy for this pleasure, he's hankering for this pleasure. No one can escape that. No one has, and no one can escape that. But if we aim transcendence, if we aim eternity, if we aim eternity, what comes as a say free package along with it is eternal pleasure, real pleasure, not temporary. No, if I just aim eternity. So if I can, it's very difficult to comprehend that as such I'm eternal. It is somewhat logically, mentally, I can somehow say, understand, work out, I'm not this body. I'm not this mind as well, say, I'm not this intelligence as well, I'm not this identity and all. But to really contemplate, comprehend that actually I'm an eternal living entity, a spiritual being, having a spiritual body. And for that, one has to cry out, one has to take shelter of Srimad Bhagavatam, take shelter of devotees, of pure devotees of Krishna. That is our real opulence, that is our real purpose, say, existence in life. We understand, devotees tell us what, devotees help us understand. We are as old as Krishna. Also, if I can say, I am as old as Krishna. We should all maybe take this as a mantra. I am as old as Krishna. Not on the bodily age. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita. So if we can just think, contemplate, and work around this, if we can aim for eternity, then pleasure will follow us, will follow for sure. And this is our real identity, the real thing, not a cover up thing. Any thoughts? Yes, bro. Sure.
And destiny, it refers in the 11th canto, Eshavai Paramo Yoga, that the supreme yoga process is that by which you gradually pull the horse onto the desired path. So in the same way, you may change your destiny, but it may be a gradual change. And I was just going to ask, is there a danger? Well, actually, it seems because Indra was a Kanishta Adhikari, and there he was with Vritasura. So was Indra more afraid of Vritasura's apparent demoniac appearance, or was he more afraid of Vritasura's exalted spiritual status?
Thank you, bro. Good question. And just on the destination and destiny, can any one of us claim that, oh, I was destined to be in the temple room, in the shelter of Shishikharanta Mayapur Sashi, in the temple room on 24th of November 2022? Bhakti is something causeless. Bhakti is something independent, and it is not restricted or actually dependent on our destiny. It is completely causeless, coming out of the causeless mercy of the pure devotees of Krishna. What was in our, what was in our destiny? Maybe jobs, work, life, family, so many such things which is still there and all. But this bhakti thing need not be in the destiny. Like Adokshaja Prabhu practicing 40 years, Prana Prabhu, Adokshaja Prabhu, between themselves they share more than 75 years of exalted devotional service. And I strongly say, like, if we take them to any astrologer and they see their hands or palm reader or like that, I don't think so. That's why, oh, well, you were destined to be uh, this devotional service and this way. So, yeah, we aim for our destination. So, the question being is Indra more afraid of Vitrasura's spiritual status, such exalted spiritual status, or is he more afraid um, of his ignorance or his appearance as a demon? Indra is more afraid actually of his position than afraid of the spiritual caliber, the spiritual status of Vritrasura or his appearance as a demon. For Indra, he's more attached or seeing his throne. He's more afraid of not losing his throne, wanting, holding on to his throne. Could be in the pretext of performing his duty. But the attachment is more to the throne. And Indra is struggling to see, although Pashyanapi na pashyati, Bhagavatam says, right? Seeing yet not seeing. Indra is also struggling to see the exalted spiritual status of Vritrasura. Such a glorious personality in front of him, yet Indra is struggling to, perhaps if I may say, reform, transform, take a U-turn, exactly in a way like Dhritarashtra was struggling. Who did not come to give counsel to Dhritarashtra? Sanjay, Vidura, Bhishma Pitama as well, Krishna himself, Gandhari, hmm, and some others as well, but these five sure. And Dhritarashtra himself said, "What you are saying, oh Keshava, what you are saying, I can, I can feel, I can understand it, but it doesn't. It just touches my heart. It doesn't penetrate my heart. It's like a lightning. It comes and it goes away even quicker than how quick it comes." So such is also the case with Indra because he's so enamored, obsessed, um, taken over by the throne, the possession, his king of heaven, that he's struggling to see the glorious message of Vritrasura, the glorious presentation life, and also because he's worrying about again the appearance as a demon, but all mainly to protect his what is his identity or that role. Exactly.
Consciousness with Indra, because Indra initially seems like a typical Kanishta. He's reacting more to, like you say, his throne being threatened, and he's seeing from the external point of view that this is a demoniac person, and so he made this whole arrangement to get the thunderbolt to kill him. But then, during the course of killing Vritasura, it becomes apparent that Vritasura is an exalted Vaishnava, and then after everything, after he is killed, then Indra starts to regret that he's performed this. So he's gone from one way of looking at the situation, and then typical Kanishta, and then later on he's regretting. He's thinking, "Wow, I didn't appreciate the wonderful qualities this personality had."
True. Thank you, Prabhu. See, the messages and everything in Bhagavatam, it's a personal message. It is personally to help me become a pure devotee of Krishna, to help become us a pure devotee of Krishna. Again, Srimad Bhagavatam doesn't give us any license to that I have a go at Indra or someone like that. No. Now, on this having a remorse thing, see, one of the name of Krishna is Achyuta. What does Achyuta mean? Infallible. Krishna is by default infallible. And it is much better the sooner we adjust to it. It will be tremendous to our spiritual journey. The very sooner we adjust to it, that Krishna is by default the Supreme Personality of Godhead. By default, he is free from any mistakes. He doesn't infallible, doesn't fall from his position, situation. And then um, there is a human being who is prone to committing mistakes. Human being means what? A human means one who commits mistakes and all. And in that mistake, we feel bad as well. We feel remorse as well. Oh, I shouldn't have spoken to my mom like this. I shouldn't have told her this. I should have controlled. I should have waited. This is a mistake on my part. I must learn. So there is this thing. But generally, it is observed, it is a bit short lived. It is a bit short lived. Then again, we get distracted by something or the other, or something has come up, and we struggle to transform, evolve ourselves. So that is human, and sadhaka is one who realizes this and who is practicing to come out of this mistake or fault identity, fault lifestyle, fault way of living, and furthermore. And pure devotee is one who is free from making this mundane material mistakes, one who has fixed up his identity altogether. So this is what Srimad Bhagavatam is helping us. If we take on to the shelter of a pure devotee of Krishna, if we take up to the shelter of a pure devotee of Krishna, we will attain nothing but transcendence. Nothing but transcendence. So Mahaprabhu's teachings is what? Vaishnava Seva Jive Daya. Yeah. Vaishnava Seva, serving the Vaishnavas, serving the pure devotees, and Jive Daya. So a human being who is still committing mistakes and all because of largely misidentification. A sadhaka, a spiritual practitioner, a devotee has a responsibility to help a human being elevate to come to a devotee platform. And also for him to take Vaishnava Seva, to elevate for himself to become a pure devotee, to aspire to becoming a pure devotee of Krishna. If that somewhat is in line with your. Yes, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, thank you for a very nice class. So you were speaking about death, and it seems that general mass of people, they don't like speaking about this. Like there's some fear or about this topic, and obviously there is no understanding there is a life after that. But on the other hand, in religious circles, there seem to be more speech about that, and we're speaking about this morning too. But also, and you mentioned about living to die. But there is also this extreme side, and sometimes people who are not religious, they are kind of very careful, about this topic, because some people live to die, like you heard about suicide bombers, and some atheists often accuse religious people of creating so much trouble and killing people in the name of religion and etc. So can you explain what's the difference, what's going on there, and what you're speaking about?
Thank you, Prabhu. Beautiful question. Very nice question. We very practical. We see in society someone who is happily committing suicide in the name of say religion, and also and with what understanding that okay, I am dying and this death will give me uh, an eternal life. Says I'm dying to live. And us practitioners as well, we are practicing Krishna consciousness, and like Vritasura, he's ready to die to live eternally. So how do we understand the difference and this mood and thing? Well, at a gross platform also we can see a suicide bomber. He doesn't die alone. He kills others. He kills others. It's a very heinous act. What one performs others before giving them an opportunity as such to purify their existence, altogether. And in here, like what a sadhaka when he prays, when he aspires, that's like an individual prayer or an aspiration to gain into that eternal entrance. And the cause is what? The cause of that, like the ways to control someone, the ways to help someone grow. One of the ways is like to motivate, to help someone grow, to make someone act, to control someone. One of the ways is by flattery of some words. By flattery of words, you can make someone work or act. Another is like bribing, by giving out some money or some bribe or some gifts and favors. And one is what? Out of some real pressure, some real control, as in bringing someone to taking shelter at gunpoint. At gunpoint, or like, okay, there's this bomb thing happening, take shelter or otherwise die. But that is not the message of Bhagavatam. And in such a manner, in such a manner, with this hatred sort of oriented manner or fearful sort of oriented manner, one can never grow. One can never grow. This is what Arjuna also, he was very fearful. And Krishna was telling, or we see, even though following religion and righteousness, still fearful. And this is observed in society. Look, is it not an irony? Even though religious, pious people in the world following religion, but there's so much of fear. And what should religion do actually? Bhagavatam says, Ashoka Abhay Amrit. This is what religion actually provides. Ashok frees us from lamentation. Abhay frees us from fear and provides Amrit, frees us from the fear of death, from Mrityu, provides us Amrit, eternal life. So, until and unless one takes the shelter of Param Dharma, Srimad Bhagavatam, one will be overpowered actually by fear, lamentation, or death. And the process itself, the very process itself, how someone who in his head thinks that, okay, I will attain a higher realm, I will attain a higher realm, and I will, um, if I do this sort of act, I will attain an higher realm. But what one will attain is actually the higher realms of ignorance, is what one would achieve. This is what like Bhagavad Gita says. The approach, the mood, the thought process, the consequences, the approach that describes how a sadhaka approaches for human welfare, ultimate human welfare, and how another one approaches. The two approaches are very different. Krishna consciousness, Prabhupada, it's not like um, killing someone, rather to kill the ignorance within the person and help him in this human form of life itself come to his real understanding. That is the thing. Not just grossly uh, taking that act and that authority. No one has given us that right and that authority to take away our life as well as such, and to take away someone's life as well as such. No. If we truly understand the law of karma, and if we are truly God obedient. But if not God obedient, then yeah, we misconstruct ourselves, contrive ourselves, and that is because of lack of understanding of scriptures and lack of understanding of a spiritual personality in life. With lack of understanding of a spiritual personality in life, lack of good service and understanding of scriptures, then it will lead us to on a completely wayward path altogether. If this somewhat answers your question, bro. Okay, thank you very much for your patient listening. Grantraj Srimad Bhagavatam Mahapuran ki, Srila Prabhupada ki, Nitai Gaur Premanandi.
His Grace Bhaktashish Prabhu ki Jai.